Rocket Raccoon isn't your typical Marvel Rivals healer. His mobility, unique mechanics, and game-altering gadgets set him apart from the other strategists. While he might not have the highest raw healing output, Rocket's mobility allows him to stay alive, which provides him the opportunity to keep his team sustained through the toughest of situations. Although he has a limited health pool, with his wall running, hovering, and dashes, Rocket can feel nearly impossible to pin down. His incredible mobility and the near infinite range on his heal allows him to position himself defensively to keep both himself and his team alive. Through his various skills, he brings armor packs, damage boosts, and can even revive his fallen allies. Rocket's kit rewards players who can think strategically and adapt to chaotic battles. He's very easy to pick up and learn, while also having a high skill ceiling for players willing to master his abilities. So if you like staying one step ahead of your enemies while supporting your team in creative ways, you're in the right place, because I'm going to provide you with everything you need to know to get started with Rocket Raccoon in Marvel Rivals. Okay, so let's start with a general overview as to what Rocket Raccoon does, and we'll go through each of these skills in depth momentarily. So your left click is Bombard Mode, which essentially is a chain gun that does damage to opponents. It's actually pretty lethal at close range. Gives you a chance to, do a little damage, chip away at opponents, defend yourself a little bit. But most importantly, it charges your ultimate ability, C.Y.A, which gives you a massive damage dealing aura for your allies, which is super helpful in team fights, can really help tip the tide of battle. Repair Mode is your right click, which is essentially the secondary fire of your chain gun. And what it does is it heals your allies. That's the sustain you're looking for. That's the healing you're looking for. You shoot these little balls, they bounce around, and they heal your allies. Then you have the team up abilities. You got Old Friends, which is you jump onto the shoulder of Groot. You get damage reduction while you still shoot and heal. And Ammo Invention provides the Punisher and the Winter Soldier with improved firing rates and infinite ammo. JETPACK DASH gives you the opportunity to be mobile. It comes with 2 charges, and that's key for Rocket Raccoon. He's very squishy, but he can kind of dash around even up into the air, which keeps him safe and alive. Which, hey, if you're alive, you get to keep healing, right? And then you have B.R.B, very cleverly named. What it is probably Rocket Raccoon's most sought after ability. You put a little beacon, and if your allies die, they get resurrected at that beacon, and it goes on cooldown. You often want to place it out of the way and into kind of like, little corners and stuff like that, so that opponents don't naturally destroy it, because if they do, it goes on a massive cooldown. Finally, you do have the wall crawl, which allows Rocket get a slight boost of speed and maneuver up and down the map. He can also go up really high, jump off, and with Flying Ace, he can hover, giving himself a high vantage point where he can heal and do damage. The damage is obviously often limited from that range, but hey, the flight gives you an opportunity to heal with a really nice vantage point and protecting yourself a little bit as well. When talking about Bombard Mode, there's a couple things worth considering. The first is that you often use it to soften up tanks so that your DPS can take them out. Maybe you're going to pick off some retreating supports with your mobility. You kind of dash in, intercept them, blow them up, dash out, fly away, run up a wall, etc., right? Rocket Raccoon is very mobile, and it actually does an impressive amount of damage up close. So we're at about 10 meters here. Let's take a look at the TTK, and it goes down rather quickly. 27 shots still left in the chamber here. We're going to reload, and again, I'm going to be quiet for a sec so you can kind of hear and feel the TTK. So a very fast time to kill there, right? As we move back to 20 meters, however, things change quite a bit. A massive drop off, almost all of your ammo just to take down one bot here. So it gives you an idea of just how impactful your damage dealing capabilities are from up close, but at range, it's not great. You'll also note that as you do damage, your ultimate, the Q there at the bottom right, will charge rather rapidly. Charging this ultimate is huge because you're going to want it for the team fights, right? You want it for the team fights because it is an absolute huge advantage when you're kind of in critical situations, taking over points and domination and etc., right? So you definitely want to consider using your weapon as often and as effectively as possible, but just note that the range is significantly tight with regards to his damage dealing capabilities. It also is capable of doing headshots, and as such, if you're able to get a couple of headshots, which is great and nice and easy because it is an automatic firing weapon, you're able to take down opponents rather quickly. So with Rocket, kind of get used to aiming upwards a little bit. Actually, this is also a good example. I have to make a video about this, but the actual aiming reticule is way above the head of the bot, but you'll notice that because of the third person perspective, it's actually still hitting the bot in the head. Right? Despite the fact that my aiming dot is way above, you'll notice that it's still hitting approximately right square at the headshot range, right? So that's another video for another day, but you're going to get accustomed to kind of like where you're aiming with Rocket in order to best deal the amount of damage you're looking for. What's interesting is if you drop the Q, which is his ultimate ability, which boosts your damage capabilities and your allies, the TTK goes up significantly because he actually does get additional damage dealing capabilities. You'll notice that it's going down, 31 still left in the chamber as opposed to what we had before. So it gives you a feel for what his damage dealing capabilities are. Alright, so here are the stats for people that like numbers, and we do 16 damage per round, and the projectile speed is 150 meters per second. As we noted in the example we just recorded, the fall off begins at 10 meters for the damage, dropping to 40% by 20 meters. So a very narrow range of damage dealing capabilities, but up close, Rocket's actually pretty lethal, especially when you consider a high ammo capacity and the ability to do a critical hit. Alright, so let's talk about repair mode here. As you can see, I got these Galactobots that are taking damage. I'm right clicking to heal them. It has a lower ammo capacity than my left click, but as I'm healing through the AoE, it actually does charge my ultimate ability. That's actually something worth noting here. It does work in an AoE. If I just shoot a healing orb kind of randomly, you'll note how fast it kind of bounces around. As it gets close to an ally, it'll slow down and actively heal that ally, which generally allows you to kind of like ease up on your targeting, making Rocket Raccoon a beginner-friendly hero even if you don't have the greatest aim. It's also worth noting that you can shoot it at his feet and it'll heal him as well. I'm happen to be at full health, so that doesn't quite work, but it does work. If you're able to position it in a way where you can bounce it off walls and access allies that are kind of not readily available, that is an interesting thing that you can do that's honestly pretty effective. And again, you can actually position the orbs so that they heal both people via proximity. So I'm actually healing both of them, I'm shooting it right in the middle, it slows down, applies the AoE heal, and of course that's effective as well. They do keep moving, so if you shoot them kind of through someone like you would with a Jeff, it actually is pretty effective, and Rocket can do a tremendous amount of healing. The disadvantage to repair mode is that it does not do a lot of burst healing, so if they're under a lot of like burst damage, it's unlikely you're able to kind of heal your opponents through that, or your allies through that. However, it's very good at sustained healing, meaning that in fights where like you're kind of taking a little bit of sustained damage, your tanks are getting poked non-stop, what you're able to do is you are able to keep them up effectively, doing a tremendous amount of healing. It's not uncommon that an effective Rocket who stays alive and keeps their allies alive will lead the healing charts at the end of the game, simply because of the amount of sustained healing it's able to do on an AoE over any given period of time. And while you're doing your healing, you are charging your ultimate, which is remarkable, which allows you and your team to do some additional damage so that you can take down the opponents. Another thing worth noting about repair mode is that it has limitless distance, essentially. What you can do is you can basically fire from anywhere you want, continuously heal your allies, keep them alive, and that can be helpful. It's kind of similar to Jeff's infinite range ability as well. It's also worth noting that you can combo that with your movement, your heal, and your floating, and you can kind of float and you can heal them from like a safe vantage point. That wasn't the highest jump ever, but if you kind of scale up a wall, for instance, get up on a wall, you kind of burst up and then you float around, you can like heal your allies while kind of being in a safe vantage point on your own. It's one of the ways that you can use positioning with Rocket Raccoon to continuously heal while also protecting yourself. The mobility element of Rocket is absolutely huge. Do not sleep on it. I know you guys are new players, that's why you're watching a beginner's guide, but the movement capabilities of Rocket is really what makes him shine, because you're able to position yourself in a very convenient way, further away in the sky, wherever you want to be, and you're able to effectively heal your allies from anywhere, anytime, while keeping yourself safe. As for Rocket's B.R.B, when a friendly hero dies, what you'll see is they'll respawn back at the B.R.B, and it'll actually kind of like dissipate. It goes on cooldown when that happens, so it does have a long cooldown after it resurrects one of your allies, but it can be super helpful. And what you can do is you hide it kind of like nearby. It has to be within range of them kind of dying, or else like it's not going to have an effect, but it is super valuable for getting a teammate back in the fight. It's also worth noting that if an opponent destroys it, it also goes on a massive cooldown, whereas if you take it down, if you think that it's going to be destroyed, you kind of protect it on a much shorter cooldown so you can get it back up quicker. You often want to have it like close to the fight, although protected and kind of tucked away where your enemies are unlikely to find it. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Alex, you got Groot here and he's running around and I saw you hover him and it says ride. Well, that is exactly the team up ability here. You're able to ride Groot, do some damage. You can still kind of do your shots, this and that. You can actually jump off him, flow and stuff like that. You know, you can still stay pretty mobile. You are a little more vulnerable, but you do get a 35% damage reduction while on Groot's shoulders, which can help in your survivability when you're in like tense situations. situations. He's nearby, you jump on top of him, you can still do damage and healing while preventing yourself from just exploding with the very little HP that you have, okay? So jumping on Groot's shoulders is particularly valuable. You also have another team-up ability where you can drop in an ammo invention with some range on it, as you can see, and it actually increases the fire rate of both the Winter Soldier and the Punisher, giving them unlimited ammo for the duration, which is 12 seconds. It obviously, in a team fight, can produce amazing results, especially when you couple it with your ultimate. Alright, so check this out. You drop the ultimate ability, you drop the unlimited ammo, and these bots are just immediately dead every single time. You're getting all these team-up assists, but these bots can't even stay alive because it's unlimited ammo, fast fire rate. So yeah, these team-up abilities are no joke. They definitely help in team fights. It can be the difference between you losing and you winning. Okay, so let's round out the video with the numbers here. The damage boost provided by your ultimate is 40% in a 20-meter radius. The amount of energy required to charge your ultimate is 3,700. It's notable that different heroes require different amounts of energy to charge their ultimate. They charge at different rates. When we talk about the B.R.B, the maximum revive distance is 50 meters. That's pretty far, so that kind of allows you to tuck it into a corner, keep it safe, and obviously walls and barriers don't matter from that point. All right, so here are the stats for Rocket Raccoon's repair mode heal. Essentially, it is a single projectile, but very notable, it might heal your allies for 60 per second, but it only heals yourself for half of that. So you want to kind of lean into your mobility as Rocket Raccoon for your survivability, and only heal yourself when you're kind of in the safe, so to speak. You don't want to like reliably try to sustain yourself. You're much more effective at sustaining your allies. Regardless, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this Rocket Raccoon introductory beginner's guide was helpful to you. I got a whole bunch of other heroes as well. I got one of them here on the screen, so definitely check it out if you're interested in learning more about Marvel Rivals. We'll see you on that next one.